Ever wondered which brilliant female minds throughout history share your personality type? Well, get comfortable, because we're about to take you on a journey through time, introducing remarkable women who've shaped our world, one personality type at a time. ENFJ, the protagonist. When ENFJs walk into a room, even the wallpaper pays attention. These charismatic nurturers have a gift for inspiring others while somehow making everyone feel personally seen. Enter Oprah Winfrey, perhaps the most ENFJ woman to ever ENFJ. Picture this: young Oprah growing up in rural Mississippi, practicing her interview skills with her cornhusk dolls. And how does that make you feel, Mr. Corn? Little did those dolls know they were being interviewed by a future billionaire media mogul. What makes Oprah quintessentially ENFJ? It's that uncanny ability to cry with a guest, make millions of viewers feel personally connected, and then casually convince America to read actual books for fun. Her famous "you get a car" moment wasn't just generosity, it was an ENFJ having the time of her life, making other people happy. If you're an ENFJ, you've probably given someone the emotional equivalent of a car at some point, just without the tax implications. INFJ, the advocate. INFJs, the rarest personality type and somehow also the most common type on internet forums. Coincidence? These insightful visionaries see through your soul while simultaneously worrying if their hello sounded weird. Meet Harriet Tubman, the INFJ who not only escaped slavery but returned approximately 13 times to rescue others. When most people say, "I'll come back for you," they mean maybe next Tuesday for coffee. When Harriet said it, she meant, "I'm risking my life repeatedly because my moral compass is basically a GPS that only points toward justice." Tubman once said, "I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves." That's peak INFJ energy, profound insight, delivered with conviction followed by quiet frustration that not everyone immediately sees the truth. If you're an INFJ, you've probably had the same feeling trying to explain to friends why their toxic relationship is actually toxic. Different stakes, same energy. ENFP, the campaigner. ENFPs are walking idea factories with the attention span of, "Oh look, something shiny." These enthusiastic creatives view life as a buffet of possibilities where they must sample everything, preferably simultaneously. Enter Ellen DeGeneres, who revolutionized comedy, came out when it could have ended her career, bounced back from cancellation, the original kind, not the Twitter kind, and built an empire based on dancing and being kind. If that's not ENFP resilience and reinvention, I don't know what is. When Ellen said, "Find out who you are and be that person," she wasn't giving advice so much as explaining her life philosophy. ENFPs don't just think outside the box. They question why boxes exist in the first place, then turn them into art installations. If you're an ENFP, you've probably had 7 different career aspirations this week alone, and honestly, you could probably rock all of them. INFP, the mediator. INFPs live with one foot in reality and the other in a world where trees have feelings and every sunset is personally dedicated to them. These idealistic dreamers will forgive you for anything except violating their deeply held values, at which point they'll write a devastatingly poetic journal entry about you. Jane Austen, the literary queen of what I actually said versus what I was thinking, embodies INFP energy. While society expected women to smile and nod, Austen was quietly creating biting social commentary disguised as romance novels. "It isn't what we say or think that defines us, but what we do," she wrote, while doing precisely what INFPs do best, observing humanity and transforming those observations into art. What's more INFP than creating an entire universe inside your head while outwardly appearing to be doing nothing special? If you're an INFP, you've definitely been told you're so quiet by someone who has no idea about the elaborate fantasy novel trilogy currently being composed in your mind. ENTJ, the commander. ENTJs don't enter rooms, they assess and conquer them. These strategic commanders have 5-year plans for their 5-year plans, and they're not sorry about it. Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady herself, epitomizes ENTJ energy. Love her or hate her, and many did both passionately, you can't deny her impact. When told she couldn't become Prime Minister because she was a woman, she essentially responded, "Watch me," and proceeded to reshape British politics for decades. Thatcher famously said, "If you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman." That's ENTJ efficiency in a nutshell. Identify problem, implement solution, move on to the next challenge before lunch. If you're an ENTJ, you've probably reorganized someone else's life without their permission because honestly, they were doing it wrong and you were just helping. INTJ, the architect. INTJs approach life as a chess game where everyone else is playing checkers. These strategic masterminds combine vision with precision, making them simultaneously intimidating and strangely fascinating. Marie Curie, who casually discovered two elements, won 2 Nobel Prizes in different scientific fields, and revolutionized our understanding of radioactivity, embodies the INTJ spirit. While others were asking why, Curie was asking why not carry radioactive materials in my pocket, which in retrospect maybe wasn't her best INTJ moment. What makes Curie quintessentially INTJ? That laser focus on discovery regardless of conventional limitations. When told women couldn't attend university in Poland, she created an underground flying university with her sister. INTJs don't let little things like impossible or illegal or might cause radiation poisoning get in their way. If you're an INTJ, you've definitely created a more efficient system for something mundane and been genuinely confused when others didn't immediately adopt your obviously superior method. ENTP, the debater. ENTPs haven't met an argument they couldn't win or a rule they couldn't creatively reinterpret. These quick-witted innovators live to challenge assumptions, especially if it shocks everyone in the room. Meet Amelia Earhart, who looked at the male-dominated field of aviation and essentially said, "That's cute, now watch this." She didn't just break records, she broke expectations about what women could achieve, all while maintaining her signature wit and independence. When Earhart said, "Please know I am quite aware of the hazards," before her final flight, she was displaying classic ENTP confidence in the face of danger. ENTPs don't avoid risks. They calculate them, then proceed anyway because the status quo is far more terrifying than failure. If you're an ENTP, you've definitely started a sentence with "actually" and watched someone's soul leave their body as they realised they were about to learn why they were wrong. INTP, the Logician. INTPs view emotions as interesting theoretical concepts that happen to other people. These analytical wizards can solve complex problems, but might forget to eat for 3 days in the process. Marie-Sophie Germain, a self-taught mathematician who mastered calculus while her parents confiscated her candles to stop her from studying at night, captures INTP determination. When the École Polytechnique wouldn't admit women, she submitted papers under a male pseudonym, and when her identity was discovered, the famous mathematician Gauss remarked with surprise that a woman could produce such brilliant work. What's more INTP than pursuing knowledge for its own sake, regardless of social expectations or basic needs like sleep? If you're an INTP, you've definitely gone down a research rabbit hole at 2 a.m. and emerged 5 hours later as an expert on something obscure like the evolutionary purpose of eyebrows or why ancient Romans used urine for laundry. ESFJ, the Consul. ESFJs are the people who remember your birthday, bring homemade cookies to work, and somehow know exactly when you need a shoulder to cry on before you do. These nurturing traditionalists create community wherever they go. Princess Diana, the people's princess, exemplifies ESFJ warmth and devotion to service. While royal protocol demanded distance, Diana broke the rules to touch AIDS patients when others wouldn't, knelt to be at eye level with children, and transformed the monarchy's relationship with the public. What makes Diana quintessentially ESFJ? That genuine care for individuals combined with awareness of social traditions. She navigated royal expectations while humanizing the institution. If you're an ESFJ, You've probably created a group chat to keep everyone connected and been secretly hurt when people didn't reciprocate your thoughtful gestures, though you'd never admit it. ISFJ, the defender. ISFJs are the secret support beams of society, not flashy, utterly reliable, and if they disappeared overnight, everything would collapse by morning. These dedicated protectors remember every detail about people they care about, including preferences you mentioned once 5 years ago. Rosa Parks, whose quiet determination sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, embodied ISFJ principles. While history often portrays her act as spontaneous, Parks was a trained civil rights activist who made a deliberate choice based on her values. The real ISFJ moment. She continued working as a seamstress and lived modestly despite her historical significance. What makes Parks classically ISFJ? That steadfast commitment to principles combined with humility. ISFJs don't seek the spotlight. They do what's right, because it's right. If you're an ISFJ, you've probably been the person quietly handling crucial tasks while others get credit, and you're mostly okay with that because you care more about results than recognition. ESTP, the entrepreneur. ESTPs don't just seize the day, they give it a bear hug and challenge it to an arm wrestling match. These energetic risk-takers live completely in the moment, making them both exhilarating and occasionally terrifying to be around. Cleopatra, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt, mastered the art of ESTP opportunism and charm. Historical accounts suggest she smuggled herself into Caesar's quarters rolled in a carpet, an entrance so dramatic it could only be planned by someone who understood the power of making an impression. What makes Cleopatra quintessentially ESTP? That combination of tactical thinking with immediate action. She didn't just theorize about alliances, she created them through bold personal diplomacy and, yes, sometimes romance. If you're an ESTP, you've probably talked your way into somewhere you weren't supposed to be, simply because rules seemed more like interesting suggestions than actual barriers. ISTP, the virtuoso. ISTPs approach life with a toolkit and the unshakable belief that anything can be taken apart, understood, and either fixed or improved. These cool-headed pragmatists prefer action to words and results to promises. Bessie Coleman, the first African-American and Native American woman to earn a pilot's license, exemplifies ISTP determination. When American flight schools wouldn't admit her, she learnt French and moved to France to get her license there. Then she returned to America and became a barnstorming pilot performing aerial stunts. Because why not? What makes Coleman classically ISTP? That practical problem-solving approach combined with a need for independence and mastery. ISTPs don't just complain about obstacles, they find ways around, over, or through them. If you're an ISTP, you've probably fixed something complex without instructions while everyone else was still arguing about who should call a professional. ESFP, the entertainer. ESFPs don't just light up rooms, they transform them into impromptu parties where everyone somehow ends up dancing on tables. These vibrant performers experience emotions at volume levels other types didn't know existed. Josephine Baker, who went from poverty in St. Louis to becoming an international star in Paris, embodied ESFP expressive freedom. She performed with raw emotional energy, adopted a rainbow tribe of children from different countries to prove people could live in harmony, and casually worked as a spy against the Nazis during World War II. Just another Tuesday for an ESFP. What makes Baker quintessentially ESFP? That combination of living out loud while connecting authentically with others. ESFPs don't just perform, they transform themselves and their surroundings. If you're an ESFP, you've probably been called too much by boring people who don't appreciate that your emotional expressiveness is actually your superpower. ISFP, the adventurer. ISFPs experience life through their senses with an intensity that makes others wonder what they're missing. These artistic explorers might seem quiet until they suddenly reveal their passionate inner worlds through creative expression. Frida Kahlo, whose surrealist self-portraits turned personal pain into universal art, captures ISFP authenticity. When traditional beauty standards couldn't accommodate her reality, she didn't just ignore them, She created new standards by painting her unapologetic unibrow in dozens of self-portraits and declaring, "I am my own muse." What makes Kahlo classically ISFP? That fierce individualism combined with emotional depth. ISFPs create art not for recognition but as an extension of their authentic selves. If you're an ISFP, you've probably been underestimated by people who mistake your quietness for simplicity, only to shock them later with the complexity of your inner world. ESTJ, the executive. ESTJs enter situations, identify what's inefficient, and immediately start organising everyone whether they ask for help or not. These structured administrators live by their calendars and expect you to respect their colour-coded filing system. Golda Meir, who became Israel's first, and so far only, female Prime Minister at age 70, exemplifies ESTJ pragmatism. Known for her no-nonsense approach, she once famously said, "Don't be so humble, you're not that great," which might be the most ESTJ quote ever recorded. What makes Meir quintessentially ESTJ? That combination of clear organisational vision with straightforward communication. ESTJs don't sugarcoat or deal in theoretical possibilities. They assess facts and implement solutions. If you're an ESTJ, you've probably reorganised someone's kitchen without permission because it just makes more sense this way, and you were right, even if they're still mad about it. ISTJ, the Logistician. ISTJs approach life with a rulebook, a backup rulebook, and contingency plans for what to do if both rulebooks are somehow lost. These dependable traditionalists believe structure isn't just important. It's the foundation of civilization itself. Queen Elizabeth II, who maintained unwavering royal dignity through 7 decades of dramatic cultural changes, embodies ISTJ dedication to duty. When asked what she wanted for her 80th birthday, Elizabeth reportedly said, "I don't like surprises. I'm not sure I want the trouble." That's ISTJ energy in its purest form. What makes Elizabeth classically ISTJ? That remarkable consistency and commitment to established procedures. Where others might have modernised the monarchy more dramatically, she understood the value of reliability and tradition. If you're an ISTJ, you've probably been called boring by people who don't appreciate that your consistency is actually a superpower that keeps chaos at bay. And there we have it. 16 exceptional women across history, each displaying the unique strengths of their personality types. Whether you're an intuitive dreamer like Jane Austen or a practical problem solver like Bessie Coleman, your personality type comes with its own special gifts. Remember, these profiles aren't about putting women or anyone into boxes. They're about celebrating the diverse ways we approach the world and recognizing that there's no single formula for making history. These women didn't achieve greatness because of or despite their personality types. They achieved it by fully embracing who they were. So tell me, which of these remarkable women resonated with you? Drop a comment below, subscribe for more personality insights, and remember to hit that notification bell. This is MBTI Spectrum, where every personality type has a story to tell.